Well, absolutely. Paul, I mean, we ain't got to fight about it. It ain't no big deal. We got opposing views on this situation. Absolutely. Maybe you'll see the light, before it's too late, before it reaches you. But they're having a hard time in these certain states that the governors tout, anti-vax type shit and everything else. The lowest vaccination rates are having the most problems. Um, and the numbers just simply don't lie. You know, and you can feel about it however you want to feel about it, and I can feel about it however I want to feel about it, and we're both going to move on at the end of the day, and it ain't no big deal. We ain't got to fucking fight and call each other names or nothing like that. It's stupid. But yeah, I mean, what Rham is talking about is there's a major company that's saying, hey, he's not talking about the butchers. That's what they're not talking about. They're talking about if you're working inside of our facility and we don't give a fuck if you're a truck driver or what, you're getting a fucking jab. You know what I mean? Before you walk into our facility, you will not do business with us unless you get that jab. You will not work here. You will not do business with us. And that starts on November 1st. So for him to say, oh, well, the shelves are already empty, well, there's no fucking way because it ain't November 1st yet. And, the thing that I happen to do is I happen to work for that company, right? That's doing this. And so he's just now talking about it. I've been talking about it for probably about a month. They, ever since they came out with it, that they were going to do this. Which I remember, the morning that they were going to have the meeting on it. And I went on ahead and was allowed to go home because, fuck, I already had the vaccine. It doesn't make a fuck for me, right? So I missed the meeting completely. But despite missing the meeting, I still heard about it. But that includes like truck drivers. If you're a truck driver and you're driving in a fucking load of whatever into that facility, you're not going to be, and you're not vaccinated, you will not be allowed to drive into that facility. Period. The end. So in order to fucking be able to do that, you've got to be vaccinated. Now, like I said, 75% of those people, doesn't matter if you're a truck driver or otherwise, are already vaccinated. Now, are there some holdouts out of that 25%? Absolutely. There are some people in that 25% that will not get vaccinated. Period. The end. They don't give a fuck. And they will not be allowed to do business there. They will not be allowed to enter that facility. Period. And this company is not the only ones doing it. There are several other companies that are doing this. At a certain point, if you want to do business, in some form or fashion with these companies, you will, or walk into their facility. If you're just a butcher that, owns his own business and everything else, you're going to do whatever the fuck you want to do. You know what I mean? You're not going to be able to do it. That's one thing. That's what you're doing. Paul, and you're allowed to do that. And there are places that you can work, like your place or your son's place or whatever, that you wouldn't have to have the vaccine, right? But there's these major companies where massive amounts of people work where that's not going to be allowed. So what are the chances that Rham's going to be able to work for you? I mean, or that a truck driver that works for you isn't going to be able to enter into your customer's huge facility without being vaccinated. What is the chances that you're going to hire that driver to drive your product to that company? I mean, 0% chance, because he wouldn't be able to get into the gate to deliver your product. You're going to have a vaccinated fucking driver. I guarantee you. Just saying. because you're going to want to sell your product. If you can't fucking sell your product, you're going to go out of business. And that's what we're talking about there, Paul. That eventually you will have to have employees that are vaccinated. You'll have to require it because you won't have a fucking choice. That part is true. Unless you sell to customers that only require unvaccinated people. You know, they don't require the vaccination, right? That's the only way you can get around it. You can't do business with this major food processing company that just about touches every fucking piece of food out there, at least 90% of it, if not more. You won't be able to do business with them people unless you got a driver that is vaccinated that can enter that facility. Period. The end. And they do, in fact, require masks in order to work there as well. No matter what state you're in. Just saying. I guarantee you they're doing it in Pennsylvania too. Do I think it's right or wrong? I mean, I don't really know. You know, they can do business however they choose, you know, just like everybody else, right? Just like you can and everybody else can. So you can't really tell them that they're right or wrong if they can't tell you that you're right or wrong. So what's the difference? You know what I mean? Do I agree with it or disagree? I don't know. I mean, I'm kind of up in the air about it, to tell you the truth, on whether or not it's right or wrong. But the fact of the matter is that it's here. Should it be legal or illegal? I don't, you know, that part I don't know either. I mean, should it be? I mean, I really don't fucking know. But either way, it's here. It's on top of you. You got to make some decisions. And I just know for a fact from talking to the people that are in that 25%, some of them have already gotten the jab. Some of those 25% have already caved. That's how it is. A large percentage of that 25% are going to cave. Large percentage. I mean, if you can get them to cave in a state that's at 50% or less on their vaccination rate, and get them to cave to such a point that there's only 25% that are unvaccinated left. 75% of your workforce is vaccinated. In a state that has less than 50% vaccinated. That's how they've made it. They put a priority on it. Like, people are saying, hey, in order to keep my job, I've got to get this vaccine, and I got to get the second dose of this vaccine before November 1st. They ain't fucking around. They ain't fucking with you. You can't get one dose and say, look, I got vaccinated. They're saying you got to get both doses before November 1st. God damn it. And that's what they're talking about. They're not talking about like state law or any of that shit. This ain't got nothing to do with the state or laws or otherwise. Because I guarantee you in Texas, they ain't got no fucking law that says you got to be vaccinated to do shit. You ain't got to have a mask on here, bro. That's how it is here, okay? There's a company policy at a certain company that we're talking about. And we're talking about the same company, I guarantee fucking to you. Because they're fucking huge. I work for them. And he's got to do some work for him because if he don't, he probably drives a reefer unit, right? So him being a truck driver, driving a reefer unit, right? He's got to go into this facility and they're telling him, hey, you got to be vaccinated in order to go here after November 1st, motherfucker. And then he just runs off at the mouth. Oh, the shelves are bare. They're empty as fuck. I mean, there are some problems in Louisiana right now because a lot of people are getting sick. That's what that's about. But no, it ain't like what he's saying. Ain't no shelves that are bare. Get the fuck out of here. And there ain't no shelves that are gonna be bare. Now, will they drive up prices because people are fucking buying everything up like they did the toilet paper and shit? That's a possibility. That's because of people being stupid. That ain't because of this situation. I guarantee you they'll have at least 80% of their workforce. They'll be able to maintain at least 80%. I wouldn't be surprised about 90. And those other 10%, they'll let them fall right the fuck off and they'll never even know they're missing. They won't give a fuck. I guarantee you. And the shelves won't even fucking notice that 10% missing. That 10% of the workforce, they'll never even notice they're missing. They'll be able to hire and scoop people right the fuck up. I guarantee you. Just saying.